Look, pay attention to who clap for you. Pay attention to niggas that go the extra mile to act loyal. You know 'em when you see them, yeah. You niggas know the name. Obstacles in my lane. I ain't built to complain. My flow is so insane. There's stiff blood in my vein. There's Smith blood in my vein. How can we be the same when most of you niggas lame? See me, Joe, I be killing shit. Lowercase I, top of the line, period. Realize what you hearing is greatness. I never fake it. People sadly mistaken. Fuck on with all that hating. It's that old show, old flow, tactical, magical, masterful. Fuck this shit, let's take it back, retractable. Yeah, picture me debating with the haters. Conversation crazy, talking about who the greatest, man. Get off my dick, let me do my thing, I done took some losses, charge it to the game. Let's go. See, man, this shit ain't too hard, but this shit ain't too easy neither, you dig? You just gotta pick what you passionate about in your life, man. And when that point is just about endurance, you dig what I'm saying? Just like my nigga Kevin Gates said, man, every time they tear you down, I'll build you back up. That's what real niggas do, you feel me? That's the game. On your head, nigga. Yeah. And yo, my words capture greatness. Sworn affidavits when sativas get the blazing. They treat me like the god and think that we 100. Ignore my existence till they need something from me, yeah. But I carry the load gladly. Shout out to all 3 independent labels that had me. P&Me, Blackout Visions, and F100. Wouldn't be where I am today if not for them, and that's 100, yeah. I'm just a fraction of the person I'm supposed to be. And I never chose the road, I took that road that chosen me. My knees might crumble, but I never give up. And to society standards, nigga, we never live up, yeah. Suckers out here acting like some 3-year-olds. You get them niggas about a year and they gon' turn 4. People wonder about the culture and what it was, but trolls don't create themselves, the public does, that's game. Yeah. See, man, anytime anybody went left, man, shit, I went the other way, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really been with the entourage my whole life, you know? Get the scales off your eyes, homie. Sing it, baby. Yeah. Joe Smith. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we kick it off today with that voice, Joe Smith, giving us some game, you heard me? That's how we doing it this morning, man. How y'all doing out there, man, in the YouTube world, man, in the Facebook world, and just the whole social media world? Everybody should be feeling good this Friday. They should be. How you feeling this morning, sis?
You know, brother, I am great. This morning is Friday. Freaky Friday, Fashion Friday, Feed Your Face Friday, and of course, Make It Fabulous this Friday. Oh, well, it's a great week. There's a lot to talk about, but we got to get to the topic at hand. But before all that, I want to thank you for working with me this morning because I had like a long week. And so I'm ready, but just bear with me this morning as we get this out. How are you this morning?
I can't complain, sis. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of us are real ecstatic about, you know, this week and all of the things that transpired this week. But you know me, I'm always I'm optimistic about everything. So hopefully, you know, I know with this new presidency thing, you know, everybody jumping for joy. So I hope it works out for the betterment of the country. You know what I mean? So I'm just keeping my hands prayed together, prayed up, and, you know, trying to make the next move.
You know, it was the inauguration. Of course, we were nervous. I mean, because of all of the talks of rebellion and protesting, all of that. So I was concerned about the security of the people, the safety of the people. You know, the representatives of the Senate, the Congress, the presidency elect, the vice president elect, but also those who came out. So I was concerned about that, but also it was refreshing to see the unity, the compassion, the camaraderie that was displayed the day of the inauguration. It was a sigh of relief. I like exhaled during the inauguration. I didn't see all of it, but what I did see, I felt like, wow, that the traumatic 4 years, it seemed like 10, is finally over.
Yeah.
We can move forward with a new beginning, a fresh outlook, a new president that's not going to emphasize, racism and dissension and division amongst the people in the country. We're here for unity. And so I was really happy to see that. I had on my chucks and pearls, because I'm an AKA. That's my sorority sister. So I was representing my chucks and my pearls, my pink and green. It was a glorious day. It really was. I'm still kind of basking in all of that, honestly. But it was great. It was great to see. How did you feel?
Well, you know me. I couldn't. I'm happy for the situation as far as I guess you could say a woman of color. But I always have my disappointments with the whole situation because, I'm looking at, okay, Joe Biden's got in there. I saw this stack of executive orders that he signed on yesterday, and just me, I don't know if it's just me being funny or me just thinking about my people all the time. And I was wondering, in that stack of orders that he had, was there any reparations in that order? Was there anything for the state of South Carolina if we can remember, before we get off into this education thing, if we can remember during the primaries of the presidential race, he was almost out of it into that good old state of South Carolina. Big shout out to South Carolina. And they pulled Joe Biden through in this primary, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm wondering, in that stack of executive orders, did he have something industrial for the state of South Carolina? Because if it had not been for the state of South Carolina, Joe Biden might not even be president right now. So I just want us to all keep that in mind, man. And I hope in some of these executive orders and somewhere down the line that they'll find some type of reparations for my people. So that's pretty much my outlook on it until we get to that religion topic in the battle of the generations. I'm going to try to hold off on that as much as I can.
Please try. As much as you can. I'll try to ring you in if you get off topic, but as I normally do, but that's all right. I'm hopeful. That's what it is. I'm hopeful that change will come. And I don't expect it overnight. It takes time, of course, but I do feel like we're moving in the right direction. Let me say that. He's not our godsend. He's not our great white hope. No. But he's a president who has empathy, compassion, and wants to represent all of the people. Yeah. Is what I gather.
Oh yeah, I'm just me personally, you know what I'm saying, you know how I am about politics, that gets me going. But personally, how can I say this? Because I don't want people to think I done lost my mind. Me personally, I would prefer somebody to just let me know who you are versus to piss on me and tell me it's raining, right? So the smooth talking of, we care about the people, this, that, and the third, but we have to realize that this ain't the first Democrat that's been in office, and black folks still hadn't moved not one iota. We still got poverty in this country. We still got military veterans that come home and have no jobs and have no place to go, and you still got St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Like, where are we really moving in this country? You know what I mean? Like, progress, you can see some, but when the overall matter comes to play, I don't think that it's a Democrat or Republican thing. I think it's a people's thing. And I think if we, the people, bind together and do what we supposed to, it doesn't really matter who's the president.
Well said. All right. Well, if you all can see, I am wearing my sweatshirt from CSULB, my alma mater, where I graduated from, California State University, Long Beach, because today we're talking about education and how it differs, if at all, from generations X, Y, and Z. Now, I am from the Generation X, as most of you know if you've been tuning in. If you're regular Generation X, if you're new, thank you for tuning in, and I'm Generation X. I was born in 1976. I'm 44 years old. I don't look it. Great genes. So when I was growing up, now I was reared by my grandparents. So I wasn't reared by my baby boomer parents because they were not around. It was my grandparents of the silent generation. And ironically, both of them were college graduates. Okay, so in my household, growing up, education was emphasized early on. Go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college. I had cousins that went to college. One particularly went to Howard, and I think I was about 12 or 13 at this time. So she came to visit one holiday at my grandparents' house, and she had her Howard sweatshirt on. And I was looking and on and excited. I'm like, now I want to go to Howard. Oh, yeah, I want to go to Howard. Then I had another cousin who went to Spelman, and so she's rocking her Spelman sweatshirt. I'm like, I want to go to Spelman. So, you know, colleges were embedded in me early on. And now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't realize at the time, but those are black colleges. They were HBCUs. And so all through high school, you know, my grandparents were on me about my grades, on me about making sure I had the grades for college. You know, which colleges do I want to go to? Let's start picking out some potential schools that you may want to go to. And back then, everything was manual. It wasn't digital where you can look up and Google and all this kind of stuff. You had to literally go through, a book and like write letters and write the information down, addresses, names, phone numbers. So I made a list of schools I wanted to go to. And initially, I wanted to go away to school because I wanted to go to HBCU. Howard and Spelman were, of course, the top of my list because my cousins had gone there. But after getting information about those out-of-state fees and how they can be, a killer on your pocketbook or my parents' pocketbook, so to speak.
Changed your mind, didn't it?
Go, but it was a little bit discouraging, honestly, because I didn't have scholarships. I didn't have any of that. My parents had to pay for me to go to school. So they were like, look, if you want us to help you, you may need to consider doing something a little closer to home where it's not going to cost us as much to send you to school. So that was disheartening, to know that I couldn't go to the school that I wanted to go to because I was going to Howard. Howard was my school that I was going to. So with all that being said, we finally decided on 3 schools in California. It was California State Long Beach, Northridge, I think San Diego State. And right before I went to college, it's about like 1993, they had a huge earthquake in California. I don't know if you know about that. Had a huge earthquake in California, and it ruined Cal State University Northridge, where I wanted to go. Like, it ruined the campus. It was destroyed. They had to rebuild it. A lot of damage was done there. And I was like, ooh, I don't go to that school. They got a lot of damage, and they have to rebuild it. So I was like, well, I guess maybe Long Beach it is. And at that time, I don't know if you remember, you probably did because you're the same age as me, around about. Snoop was big. Dr. Dre, Snoop was big. Long Beach was like on the map. So I'm like, heck yeah, a party school. Here I go.
Oh, Lord. You went to school for all the wrong reasons.
I was in LBC turning up.
I see.
Up. Thank goodness my parents are deceased and they can't hear this conversation right now, but
Lord Jesus. Well, if I had my strap with me, I'd take that place and put something on your hind part. Wasting going out there partying at that schoolhouse.
Yeah. Your girl was turning up. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I did get my education. I got my degree from California State University of Long Beach, CSULB, the shirt that I'm wearing today. And so, I wonder, for other people of my generation, was it emphasized the same in their household to go to school? I know a lot of my counterparts and peers did go to college. Some of them graduated, some didn't. But to keep on topic of this, millennials are right after us. I don't know if we have any millennials who wrote in or want to share their information or their stories about how education was emphasized in their house, if it was or if it wasn't. But I do know a little bit about Generation Z because I'm raising a G generation. which are my children. And I am also emphasizing the importance of getting an education. Now, I know they are a part of this generation where everything is at their disposal on the internet, and they're kind of microwave, let's get it right now, let's do it in 2.2 seconds. They want to see success without putting in hard work, coupled with, to create the success. So I'm letting them know that you can have success, you can want things instantaneously, but you have to put in hard work, and you need to have an educational foundation for whatever you do to fall back on. I know they like sports, and a lot of this generation is coupling their education with sports. Okay, it's half and half. They feel that sports are just as important as academics, and that's fine. But let's make sure that we have an education to fall back on when the sports don't work out, there's an injury, or something happens. You can create a successful career for yourself and to provide for your family. So those are my thoughts on that.
Well,
also, how do you feel?
Well, I mean, me, when it came down to it, I mean, people might say, well, Bobby, you got on the sweater vest and the polo. Like, what's your damn story behind your shit?
Right. You were not named today. You went against the grain, against my suggestion to wear your school sweatshirt. Education sweatshirt.
What I did was I put this ensemble together because these are my high school colors. I'd give it up for the Mighty Mustangs back there in Louisiana.
Team as well. We were the Mustangs.
Right. So that's
funny.
Yeah, that was my high school mascot, the Mustangs.
Okay,
so,
we were the Mustangs too.
Yeah. So when I think about schooling, I really like to go to the basics. I really like to go back to Southside Elementary. Hey, big shout out to all them Scorpions out there. I really like to go back to Southside while I was in elementary, and I feel like that reared me, even though I didn't really know what was going on at the time. I think the preparation that I had in elementary to go along with my stepmother being a school teacher, my foundation in education in my brain was solid. All except for one subject, and that was social studies. I think I got the most ass whoopings about social studies, and I ended up going to college majoring in political science. Now, how ironic is that shit? So, so I feel like the basics of education comes through that grade school, that grammar school, and I really don't think the teachers get the credit that they deserve on the elementary side. Because without that elementary education, without that foundation, I mean, Cal State, Long Beach, Wiley College in my case, none of those schools, I mean, Grambling State University in my household, Southern University in my household, I mean, that foundation that my stepmother put on us, bruh. I went to school all year round. You know what I mean? Like, summertime was cool, but in the morning time, I'm gonna get 4 hours in of work, or reading comprehension, and or math, or something. My timetables, and just learning long addition, short addition, learning how to move decimals, and all that stuff that prepared me for algebra. You know what I'm saying? For geometry. You know what I'm saying? For calculus. You know what I'm saying? I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would ever take calculus. But I actually took it in college and didn't do too bad. You know what I mean? So I think that the foundation of education starts in grammar school, and I think the appreciation level at that level has not been appreciated enough. I think when I looked at the statistics, grammar school teachers are probably the lowest paid educators on the circuit. College professors, I think, get paid 3 times the amount as a grammar school teacher. And you know, you done been to college like I have, Mo. You know, it's plenty of days. You look at that syllabus, and that's pretty much all you needed. Because your professors and stuff didn't show up all the time and things of that nature. But you better have read that syllabus to make sure that you was abreast when they did show back up in class.
Correct.
So
your assignment were ready and turned it on time.
You better damn know it. So with that being said, you know, I mean, big shouts out to all the educators out there, man. I'm not trying to bash the college professors or nothing like that. I got a few in my family. But, hey, big shouts out to all the professors out there, from grammar school profession all the way up to the college profession. But I'm just focused more so on that grade school, that grammar school, that high school education that rears you for life. Because a lot of people, you know, I know, like we're going to talk about in a minute, a lot of people choose to forego college and go straight to the workforce. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So I know we're going to talk about that in a minute. So,
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, that foundation from elementary, middle school to high school, it sets you up for life. It sets you up for life. And a lot of people might fall off in this world because they didn't get that foundation. And you know, some people say, well, I dropped out of high school. But did you drop out of elementary? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people in this world that didn't made it very successful, and they dropped out of high school. But did you drop out of elementary? I ain't seen no elementary dropouts that didn't made it. You know what I'm saying, my nigga? Like, I haven't seen that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, my grandfather actually stopped school in the 6th grade, but he was working on the railroad in my grandfather was born in 1910, so probably 1922, 23. He was 13 years old working on the railroad. So those was those times, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But I really think when you look at the generations in this whole thing, our elementary students now, I think, are way more advanced in technology than we ever were. But my fear, and I know your fear, is that they don't know how to do it by pen and paper anymore. It's all computerized. We learned the whole old school way when we had to write everything down. You know what I mean? But this generation, it's click, 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 click.
It is, all of that. And I totally agree with you that if something's not clicking, they don't know how to go back and research and find the resources to get the answer that they need, because the computers broke down, the internet don't work, the satellite is off of the circumference of the earth or whatever. They are not abreast of what's going on. They don't know how if it's not computerized for them. They have no know-how or knowledge of how to do things manually to get the answers.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are the I generation. They are the internet computer generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we started it and we learned how to function and maneuver in that world, but that's all that they know. From birth, from 2-3 years old, parents are handing their kids phones, theirs or whoever's, to entertain them,
Mm-hmm.
to occupy them, rather than a book or a G.I. Joe or a Barbie doll. Use their imagination, pen and paper, and color, and crayons and markers and things. They're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel that same fear. Although, on the flip side of that, this generation is on track to be the smartest and most educated generation of the three,
Mm-hmm.
of ours as well as the millennials.
Right.
I think because they have so much access to information we didn't have the access to. As I was saying before, with the colleges,
Mm-hmm.
I had to go manually write and find everything I needed rather than having all of the information at my disposal at the click of a button.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's bittersweet
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, they have all the resources at their disposal. They're on track to be the smartest generation, the most educated, but at the same time, they lack in a lot of areas in which we don't.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, I just say, nothing. You know, I want people to get us wrong because these old school niggas. Well, it's nothing wrong with technology. You know what I mean? I don't want nobody to think, because I mean, we had some technical difficulties this morning. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't have a reel in the camera to do it like this here and make it happen. We had to wait on technology. You know, it is what it is. You know, but I feel like those basic things. You know, a lot of put it like this. You know, a lot of children right now, a lot of our youngsters, I've asked them, you know, to write something in cursive. Cursive writing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them can't write in cursive.
Correct. They don't even teach it in school anymore.
Right.
I had to teach my own kids how to write in cursive.
That's crazy.
Didn't do it.
That's crazy, because everything on the computer and in the keyboard, when you type something up on the monitor, unless you pick a certain type of font, it doesn't come up in cursive. It come up in regular standard print.
And to piggyback on what you said, it's hard for them to even read some things in cursive as well, because everything is printed, everything is in bold block letters, and that's what they're used to seeing. It's hard for them to read calligraphy or some type of script. Yeah. Or cursive. We were doing some type of project here at home. I remember during the summer, I had my boys reading books over the summer, and something was in cursive, and my son was struggling to read what it said because the capital letters in cursive looked kind of funny to him. All of the lines and curls, and it was funny. It was foreign to him. And I'm thinking, wow, you don't know this stuff? No, seriously. I'm thinking, wow.
I know you serious.
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
I know it.
Like, go you somewhere as a parent because you can't read this or don't understand it? Reevaluate what's going on here.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I just think about, you know, when we're talking about this and reading, you know, reading is fundamental. You know what I mean? I think about my entertainer brothers and sisters, mostly my brothers, I would probably say. I think about it. And a lot of my brothers are out here paying for agents and paying for a lot of middlemen that you don't need, that's taking 15 and 20% from you. You know what I mean? Simply because you can't read a contract. Simply because now you're caught, you know, a lot of them get jacked out of their money in these 360 deals. You know, and this has nothing to do with cursive writing. This is just a matter of, you know, having some type of knowledge of how to reference words that you don't understand or you don't know the meaning of. You know what I mean? And
right.
You know, we deal with a bastard language. You know, we have synonyms and antonyms in this language, right? You can have two words that look alike, sound alike, but have totally different meanings. So when you're dealing with a bastard language, you have to be abreast on your reading techniques, skills, and your study habits. You know, and I know my mom probably would be looking at this right now. Hey, what's up, Mom? She probably looking at this right now. She be like, "What? This ain't the damn Henry that I had to sit in there and beg and plead and beg and plead."
Right. People.
To get his damn lesson when he needed to get it. You know what I mean? But I thank God that my mother and my stepmother had enough patience with me. You know what I mean? To rear those things inside of me, to take my time and read, because I was one of the, I just share this with people, you know, everybody have their hang-ups. I can't even think of what they diagnosed me with, but when I was in elementary, and this is probably why I'm so happy with elementary, this saved me from a lot of ass whoopings, Mo. But you know how I told you about social studies, and I hated it, right? It was mainly because, you know, I had a reading disorder. And what it was, I ended up, man, I made like an F, like in social studies. I think it was like in the 4th grade or something like that. And my dad, of course, you know, he old school. He don't know about no reading this or your ass ain't in there studying. You in there playing that damn Nintendo. You know, he ain't calling motherfucker Nintendo. You in there playing that damn Nintendo. You know, I'm gonna take that Nintendo and weigh your ass out with it. You feel me? Bruh. So after taking that ass whooping, you know, my mom, my stepmom and my mom, they kind of like got together. And this is why co-parenting is so important. They got together and they was like, well, he ain't dumb because, you know, he do good in English. English was like my favorite subject. So I did good in English. I did okay in science. And in elementary, science for me was more hands-on. You know, I grew up in Louisiana. It was more hands-on. You know what I'm saying? We had more projects versus book work. But social studies, bruh. So what happened was my mom arranged for me to go to the school board office and I had to take a reading disorder test. I didn't know what it was, you know what I'm saying? All I know, I had to get up earlier than regular school time and my daddy was mad and shit because I had to wake up the whole house before time to go take this test. So when I got there and I took the test, they made me take the same test twice. You know, I'm a kid, I didn't know what was going on. The first time, they told me to read it silently to myself. And I, you know, don't say nothing. The second time I did it, they told me I could read it aloud and whisper the words to myself, right? Man, don't you know, I went from like a 70 or 68 or something like that to, man, like a 83, 84, 85 when I read it out loud to myself versus reading it silently. You feel me? So I had to have special permission in class, Mo, to read softly. You know what I mean?
To yourself, yeah.
To myself. Yeah, and my grades dramatically improved. You know what I'm saying? And the rest of it was just lazy. You know what I'm saying?
Let's keep it real. And the Nintendo.
The rest of it just lazy. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get back to that damn Nintendo like my dad was talking about. You heard me? So that's my hang up, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like I catch myself when I say, I'm reading something I don't understand and I had to kick back like, okay, nigga, read this out loud a little bit to yourself. You know what I mean? And it's like I'm not embarrassed about it. Now I just had to remind myself, you know, reading and comprehension, that goes together. You got to read stuff to understand it. Just don't read stuff to call out words. You know what I mean?
And you know what? It's actually a good tool for a lot of people because for some reason when you hear it, it sounds different than when you internalize it. Mm-hmm. Just like when I proofread things, I proofread it out loud. I don't proofread it in my head.
Right.
Because what I wrote and what I say is different. Because in my mind, I know what I'm trying to say, but I don't read that. If I say it out loud, I read what it actually says. And that's how you can catch yourself in your proofreading, reading out loud. Mm-hmm. And it helps for comprehension as well. So kudos to you. And that's a good study habit for those out there who are struggling. Just in general, just something that you can adapt in your life to help you with reading comprehension and proofreading and text messages and everything else. Read out loud.
I thank God for my college professors because I even, asked a couple of my college professors, could I take a tape recorder in there in my class? You know what I'm saying? Because of that. And that, a lot of my college professors like, well, if you need it, just put the recorder by my desk, at the podium where they're speaking at.
Yes.
And just go to my seat, you know what I mean? So that helped me a lot to actually hear my professors talking again as I'm trying to take my notes and as I'm studying. They helped me a whole lot in college, whole lot. Cause I'm no genius.
I'm no genius either, but I'm willing to learn. How about that?
Oh yeah. So
that's a characteristic everybody needs to have, someone who's willing to learn.
Oh yeah.
I'm not the smartest cook in the room, but I'm gonna figure out how to be.
Yeah. That's just like, some of the old folks say, I might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I still cut you. You hear me?
Exactly. Right. I know a thing or two.
So it's just
couple little things.
Yeah, it's just the whole essence of when we this topic here is like it touches home in so many different ways, because when you think about education, not only is your school education important, but your common sense, your everyday education,
life education
is just as valuable. You know what I mean? So, as my grandmother stated, and I love her dearly. You know what I'm saying? She's still here with us. She say it's all right to have some book sense, but don't you go through this life and don't have no common sense.
She's right.
And that's the life lessons that we learn from our elders, and we learn from our surroundings, and we learn from the streets. I think that people downplay learning in the streets so much, right? Till we overlook that the streets are really what made us all, right? And when I say that is the hustle and bustle of learning how to read when this thing all unfolded. Just think about slaves and how the streets made them, right? They had to learn words, one word at a time, a letter at a time, or something like that, and it was through the grapevine, because master wasn't teaching you shit, right?
It was against the law.
It was against the law. So they went to the streets. Kunta, you got a word? Nigga, I got a word over here, nigga. You got some flour? I got some flour, nigga. Shit, give me the word. I'll give you the flour. This the word, flour, nigga.
Both are valuable. The word and the flour are equally valuable.
All right. So, with that being said, I think the street knowledge that our young people nowadays are picking up, it's not the same street knowledge of yesterday. Case in point, Public Enemy, right? Fight the Power, right? Those brothers in their rap music that they put out back then, self-destruction. Remember that? Self-destruction.
Yeah, of course.
You're headed for self-destruction. But, you don't have too many artists that's out there making that type of music. So what's in the streets and the music that's in the streets now is not teaching or not educating our young people, right? Big shouts out to my boy Gray, man. I'm waiting, man. I ordered that album, Gray Music, at Instagram, man. Y'all make sure y'all go check this brother out, man. But I'm itching to get my copy, you know what I'm saying, of this brother, man, because he speaks so much power, so much truth to power, right? He's a positive brother, and he's rapping. He got good skills now. He got flow. Don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of artists, when it comes down to educating young people with that microphone, right, and using that tool to educate your people, a lot of them fall subject to the industry, because the record labels are not picking up those artists, that's speaking sound, right, logic, and truth, right?
Correct.
So, the street education, I think now we need to take those microphones, take these microphones where we be on like this here, take these microphones and take the power back and speak truth to power. You know what I mean? Big shouts out to my brother Ice Cube, man, NWA, RIP, Eazy-E, man, and those cats like that, man, who were actually speaking truth to power. And now everybody acting like police brutality is something new. You know what I'm saying? Shit, Cube them told us way back then. You know what I mean?
Way back then, educating us.
Educating us, right? So street education is also valuable. I just think we need to take that tool, take these microphones, man, and actually use that as a tool of pulling our people together versus like the Mo 3 shit going on, you know what I'm saying? And I'm praying that, you know, there's no retaliation in that whole situation. I'm praying that it's not. You know what I mean?
What situation? I missed what you said.
With Mo3. Mo3, Lil Boost and them. You know, Mo3 got shot out there in Dallas. And then I guess, you know, when Boosie went out there to pay respect, Boosie ended up getting shot at the mall or something like that. They shot up his... yeah, it's been a little while now. You know, Boosie's been riding around on Instagram and shit in a wheelchair, racing his children and shit. You know, Boosie all right. You know, but, you know, we did lose Mo3 in the middle of all of this, you know, and, you know, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying, ignite what the people say of who all is involved. You know what I'm saying? That's not my lane. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers say stay in your lane, I stay in my lane. So it's just a misfortune that these microphones, I mean Biggie Smalls and Tupac, this no new shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want people to think this new shit. This shit been going on for a minute, but at the same time, my brother Nipsey Hussle. You know what I'm saying?
Two very educated brothers
that
brought light music. They brought their education to the masses through their music.
Yeah.
You know, I really commend those two. And they're gone too soon, but I liked the message that they were spreading. I didn't get to hear too much of Nipsey's music, but from what I've heard, he was along the same lines of Tupac, which I love. I'm a Tupac fan. I'm from Oakland. I have my nose pierced actually because of him. Not because he's super cute and all that, but because he's
Pop, rest in peace, Pop. What's good? It's up, man.
No, but honestly, I actually have his book of poems here. He's really smart. And I appreciate and I love the fact that he brought education to music, to help people, to the masses, and to open our eyes and make us more aware of what's going on in our surroundings, because he knows we'll listen that way. Not all of us are going to open up the book and read it as we should. Well, not all of us are going to do that. But what we're going to do is get this iPod or this phone and listen to something. That's the same one. I got that book.
See, speaking of Pop, you know what I'm saying?
I got that book. Mine is right over there. I can go get it too so we can flash both our books. I got the same book. Why is he looking at me like that?
Yeah.
Stop looking at me, Pop.
So, yeah, Pop, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, a lot of cats, you know, talk about they love Pac and this, that, and the third, man. But sometimes you got to go read about the brother, man. Pac was deep, you know.
Very deep.
Pac's education now, since we talk about education in the battle of generations, Pac's education was a real fine-tuned machine, you know what I mean? Like his mom made him read articles out of the newspaper every single day, you know what I mean? And he had to explain to her what it was about, like literature. Like Pac was big. Yeah.
That's the life education.
Yeah.
That common sense about what's going on in the world today that he lived in, so he could be aware.
Yeah. That's why I say, man, I was attracted to Pac for many different reasons. His education was probably the number one reason. Of course, you know what I'm saying, he's a wild boy, and that was our heyday. And, you know, Pac was a wild boy, and, you know, shit, Pac was just that dude, man. He made great music, man, but inside of his music, he had a message.
He did.
Every single time. Every single time. Whether it was a negative message to, you know, make a cat understand, like, you know, you done fuck with the wrong one now. You know what I'm saying? Like, or if it was talking about dear mama, Brenda had a baby. You know what I'm saying? You wonder why they call you bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, Pac had messages in there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're not gonna floss on me. You're not gonna floss on me.
I done bought out the Pac on her. I done bought out the Pac on her. You better know it. You better know it. That's how we do it. That's support. You know what I'm saying? People talk about black issues and things of that nature, and talk about you love Pac and probably don't have nothing in your house that can give you any references about Tupac. Nothing but a t-shirt.
I got that too.
Yeah, I got that too. I can't wait till the entertainment day. I'm gonna pull out the Nipsey and Tupac t-shirt.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing that for sure.
So,
you know, it's funny because my son had to write a poem. We were learning about different types of poems. He's like, Mom, I have to write a poem and talk about it and identify what type of poem that it is. Do you know what book I pulled out? This one.
You better know it.
I said, here you go. This is a book of
poems
right here.
Yeah.
You know, this is what's going to help you. You can read these. There's all kinds of poems in here, handwritten by him, as well as translated into a typed version. But you can see and learn from this book. Now, he's 11 years old.
Right.
And I thought it was fitting for him to read it.
Yeah. I mean, just the title itself, like the rose that grew from concrete.
From the concrete, yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, like that's prophetic in its own right. You know what I'm saying? For Pop to come from the bricks like that, man, and he was a rose, man. He was, bruh. Like, that's why I say it's like a lot of cats talk about Pop, right? And if we really love Tupac, now I'm talking to my rappers now, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to my rap artists. If we really love Pop like we say we do, why we ain't doing nothing Pop was trying to do? The only person that I've seen in recent time that was trying to do that was Nip.
It's Nipsey, yep.
Nip was doing it, you know what I'm saying? R.I.P. Nipsey Hussle, man, but Nip was doing it, like what Pop was telling us about the revolution and how we can change our own communities, and we spend our own money in our own stores. Don't just hustle on the block, help buy the block. You know what I mean? And that's what Nipsey Hussle really did. He bought his block. You know what I'm saying? Like, he literally bought his block. You know, over there off Slauson and Crenshaw. So, I mean,
and he's a millennial.
Yes.
Tupac was a Generation X.
Yes.
You know, to bring it full circle.
Yeah.
You know, one generation can help lead the next. So now you define someone who was led by Nipsey to bring that same sense of education and reality and awareness to our people for the Z generation. That's all it takes, because that's where the education lies, is in the digital world of music and computers and videos and YouTube and Instagram and all of the media outlets that we use. We have to use those platforms to get some things of educational ideas across to the masses.
Yeah. And
that's what we need to do.
You know, when you look at it, Mo, you look at it like, you look at it in the sense of educating, teaching. You can do it, but if no one is listening, you feel what I'm saying? Then that teaching and that education falls on deaf ears, right? So
correct.
We have to build a generation that's apt to hear, a generation that's apt to learn, you know, and actually take their time and read. We talked about this before, about the microwave generation.
We did.
And everything is pop, 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 pop. Right now, forget it.
Now.
No patience, you know.
None. They want it right here today, right now, rather than being more like a crock pot, as I say, which I just used yesterday, and I love my crock pot. You put in the hard work, and you let it fester, and you let it grow, and then you can watch it flourish. But you gotta put the time, the hard work, and the patience in. Let it all cook. Let it brew and simmer, and let all the juices go, and let it marinate.
Yeah.
And then you got it. Then you're like, wow, I did that. You can reap the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
They just want a tree right now today. They don't want to plant it. They want to water it. They don't want to watch it grow. Nothing. They want an apple tree today, not realizing that it has to be a seed first.
All right. Now you said something there, girl. What you say that again?
Didn't I?
You said something there. What you say that again? What you say, girl? That damn education guy. Girl, let me hear that again. What you say?
This generation wants an apple tree, not realizing it was a seed first. And you have to watch it grow. Put the time and the work in that seed.
Oh, Lord.
And watch it grow. You got to feed it, water it.
Y'all
that seed got to grow.
Plant that seed. Mo trying to tell us something.
Seed.
Plant that seed.
The seed.
Plant the seed of education. Plant the seed. And don't feel bad for all of my Generation X's that, you know, a lot of us didn't finish college and things of that nature, but don't discredit yourself when it comes to educating and teaching these younger people. Because something that you didn't learn in the classroom, you learned it somewhere else. So that education is just as valuable as what you learned in the classroom. So don't ever...
And sometimes more so.
Yeah, don't depreciate
Sometimes
yourself.
more so.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was going to say, that I think some of our Generation Z is missing out on, because everything is so digital and everything is behind the screen. They're missing out on the interpersonal communication, the education of dealing with people on a social level and learning from life's lessons. They're missing out on some of the common sense education that you get from just being in social environments, like being in school and being out and about outside of, you know, everything's virtually learning now. So a lot of that generation, they're missing that, in my opinion. As a previous educator myself, that's what I see. Both are needed, as you said, both are valuable.
Oh yeah, I'm with you, Mo, because I mean I'm in the school system right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I see the difference, you know. Thank God I coach. And in most cases, you know, young people tend to go to coach more so about their personal issues, their family issues, you know. My baseball players, of course, they're going to tell me about their little girlfriends or whatever the case may be, right? So I do more counseling. I do more counseling than I do coaching, like literally. You know what I mean? Because the questions that they ask me, it's like sometimes I'm like, man, well, you know, you ask your mom that, nah, my mom, she's not gonna understand. My dad, he's not gonna understand. But coach,
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, but coach, you do. And I tell them the same thing. I say, man, if you try to talk to your parents, it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. You know what I mean? Like, if you approach this situation properly and you know, understand that that's your parents, just like you came to me and you could open up to me. Oh, coach, you cool though, coach. You don't be tripping like that. I said, no, I got 2 daughters. If you ask my oldest, do I trip like that?
Right. Because they don't see you as a parent.
Right. They see me as coach.
As an unbiased adult. But your parents, if you give them the opportunity, they want to talk to you. They
Exactly.
want to guide you and counsel you in your life, because your life affects them.
Yeah.
They want to be there if we just give them opportunity and show them we could be cool. But if we show them we could be cool, they cringe, as my son says. Mom, that's so cringe. What?
Right.
I'm just being the cool mom that I am. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm cramping your style. I'm cringing you. Whatever. Don't hate me, school mom. Don't hate me because you hate me.
Oh man, he just a part of you and he ain't all of you. You heard me. Can't let the young folks hate on us now. The young folks don't hate on us now.
They trying.
Yeah.
So that for sure.
I mean, it's just the whole thing of it. Like I try to emphasize, you know, to my young ones, you know, when they do come to me with, you know, the hard questions, you know, I always use the reference of, if your parents didn't care, you wouldn't be here. You especially at a private school or something like that. You trust me, you wouldn't be there, right? If your parents didn't care, you know, because I also coach travel baseball. You know what I'm saying? Big shouts out to the Braves. But in travel baseball, you know, they pay to play, and you know, like I would tell them, if your parents didn't care, trust me, they wouldn't be dropping that dollar like that for you to be out here playing. Baseball bats are not cheap. You know, $350 for a baseball bat, $200 for a glove, cleats $150-something. That ain't even counting your uniform.
Ooh.
So
yeah, my pockets can't afford that.
Yeah.
You're not playing baseball up in this house. Clearly. clearly we're football and soccer people because I can't afford baseball.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah, it's an expensive sport. You know what I mean? And me personally, I wish that more of our people would play baseball, but due to the cost of things, you know what I mean? It's hard. So I mean, it's like I'm always out trying to raise money and do stuff like that, and trying to help out as much as I can, but that's a difficult thing to do, you know what I mean? And especially when you got more than one child and you try to put them all in baseball. You know what I'm saying? Cleats ain't the same. The bats change up every other year. You got to have a BB core. You got to have something else, and they don't educate the children on why they changing the circumferences of the bats and the weights of the bats and things. They never educate them on that. They just change it up now.
You're speaking a foreign language. You may have to say that topic for the sports conversation.
Good.
Lost me. You have completely lost me with the circumference of the bat and the RSP.
Oh yeah, it's education.
What?
It's education. So when security get up and saying like Uncle Ali said I could play baseball for sure. We're gonna have it together. You heard?
Say, well, Uncle Ali better come with some funds because mama ain't got no funds for baseball. I don't care what Uncle Ali said. That's the way he will be educated on baseball.
Yeah, I don't have to get out and get security into that baseball, man. Go and get in your pocketbook a little bit. You got it.
Jeez. I'm so not ready. But what I am ready to do is go eat because I'm hungry. Ain't we out of time? Ain't time for a break.
I don't know. We talk right on through it. It's 57 minutes.
Yeah, it's 11:15.
I think we did all right this morning.
We did good.
In the final words, in the final thoughts that you want to leave with us today, speaking on this battle of the generations, education and employment.
We didn't even talk about employment, honestly.
But the employment of teachers, we touched on that a little bit. So I don't think we lied in the topic. We ain't clickbaiting.
Employment, education, well, I'm not even going to start on that because we got time. But
Right.
I wish we could have talked, a little bit more about it or touched on the employment aspect of it. I guess how education ties into employment and maybe your foundation and your career, so to speak. But I thought today was a good show. I don't really have any closing remarks. I think we spoke well about the topic and what we want to say. And I wish we had more information about the millennials, the Generation Y. I spoke a little bit about it, but there wasn't a whole lot. We needed to get some information from the actual millennial and how they feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my only point that I would bring up, is that I would have liked to have heard or gotten more information about the millennials and how they feel, how their education was influenced in their lives.
Okay. Well,
That's it. That's all I have to say about that.
well, if I could close it out with education is a fundamental tool. We need to take pride in educating our young people, whether it be in the schoolhouse, whether it be at our house, or whether it be in the streets. Don't let the streets and the bad things of the streets deter us from educating our young people who are in the streets. We have an obligation, we have a duty, and we have a responsibility to make sure that this next generation has all forms of education. All right? If I could close with that.
I like that. Write that down. Put that in the Tupac poem book. I like that.
Lord. So, let's go ahead, great. So, man, what we gonna do, man? We gonna get up out of here, man. Hey, like I said, man, y'all go out there, man. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Y'all make sure y'all follow our sister Reflections Mimi. That's Miss Tamika Bass. Y'all make sure y'all look at 7_define. That's my sister 7. don't y'all forget about my sister, the real Angel K. Make sure y'all check her out on Instagram. And y'all already know my sister E.Y.Greens. She all over Instagram. You heard me? TikTok. Y'all make sure y'all go check out Mo. She dropped some new reels this week on her TikTok. Man, y'all go check her out. Man, my boy Security made his debut this week. You know what I mean? So you know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all go check out Mo TikTok. And man, y'all make sure always come, you know, see about us over at 44millionent.com. On Instagram. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. And share this video today, man, with all of your loved ones, man, and all of those educators out there and non-educated out there in the world, man, and see how we can make this, you know, all come together like we supposed to. All right? Hey, I appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in, man, to another great episode, man, of 44 Million ENT. And this is our show, Talking Tea with Ali and
your girl, Monique. It's been fun. It's been real. Y'all be good. We'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, guys.
Peace.
Bye.
Leave y'all with a little bit of this Joe Smith.
To this rigorous vision where the teachers making far less than guards in prisons. Light a L, holy yak up, it could be your last night. You could get yourself murdered out just squashing the fight. The money is the issue. Respect make a nigga more official, but you can lose them both from the pistol. I done seen a lot of niggas change when they touch cheddar, but them niggas the movie, I'm the book, still better. It's the realest shit I ever wrote. Tears while I'm writing it. That Henny with that purple, I'm sipping it and I'm lighting it. Feel Jack on that track. I got my own lane, I can't coach you. And this here's just the audio of the bullshit that I go through. My baby mama be tripping on me, my baby girl be bitching at me. These fuck nigga be switching on me. Got 2 degrees, I'm real homie. But the government don't fear us, they kill us. Cause a black dude with tattoos get shot down with his hands up. And that's real, bro, so we can't smile. Just to keep them crying every day. In the hood, niggas getting shot down every day. And they wonder why we smoke by the pound every day. Get the money, man, grind every day. Just to keep them crying every day. Through the pain and the struggle, gotta find me a way. And they wonder why we smoke by the pound every day. I just wanna see my mama smile. And for once I want my baby to see my oldest child. Heavy head looking at what you got paid today. Smile, motherfucker, someone find I take a case today. I put this fuck respect, this rap stupid for the check. I fit the shit you roll on, say they won't forget.